You gotta find out. Just go grab table 1.
Okay.
Tell them to the feature match, and I'll meet you guys over at the table.
We have also built ARGCS
What are you doing, terrorists?
Blowing shit up.
Freaking Nick does like nothing with this.
Run the audio out from the amp over here. So we can get
Doesn't matter which one you go. Pick goes in.
Wait, are we moving over here?
Put it in the one now.
Okay.
Just making sure this works.
Alright. Nah, they were changing something.
Is ARG yours?
Is what?
Are you the owner of ARG?
Not the owner now.
You're like the event organizer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Alright. See how it changed when I hit save?
Yeah.
Once you figure out what they're playing, I should have looked at their rulers. You can type in their rulers right here, like Grim or whatever. Alright?
Okay.
And just hit save because it'll show up under their names.
Okay.
And then, like I said, life is right here for you.
Okay. And the screen's right there?
Yeah, it takes up bandwidth to watch a live video, so we don't do that.
Okay. But we can watch the chat?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can talk to them if you need to.
Perfect.
So all you're gonna need to fiddle with is that, and then in between rounds, like when they're in between games when they're side decking, hit 3 cam.
Oh, okay, cool. Perfect.
Oh, let me just change that. Like that, it'll bring up that, okay?
Okay.
And then when they're done side decking, just hit main.
Okay.
That's all you gotta do between those.
Perfect. Okay.
Alright?
Is it live right now?
Yeah, it is currently live.
Okay, perfect. And,
So to talk?
is it on?
To talk, this is headset 3,
Okay.
which means 3 or 4. 5 and 6 is the mic that's hanging above them.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn up so they can hear the players.
Okay.
Now we're gonna turn you up. So you can put that on.
Right. Check.
Go ahead and go talk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're going to start the game with a die roll to decide who's going to go first here. Still haven't found out the rulers for this ARG in Philadelphia. Looks like we have Kevin and Tom moving forward, both undefeated going into round 5. Looking for a ruler reveal right now, still 4,000, 4,000. For those of you joining us right now, very excited to be here right now. Looks like the chat in the live stream is pretty uneventful. We got 29 viewers right now going into round 5. Big surprise, it's going to be a Bahamut mirror match. Looks like the regalia have really shaped and warped the meta. People are pretty excited to see this. Just kidding. It's pretty unfortunate, but there's a lot of skill in the mirror match, to be perfectly honest. A lot of people find that it's a dice roll, and kind of who goes first decides the games. But it looks like our man Kevin's going to swing in for 300, starting the first blood off, and doing some damage. Alright, so it looks like we have Regalia from both sides, popping off right now. Same aggression from both players. Still just 300 damage. Not a very eventful turn of events right now. Just another 300 damage to our friend Kevin here, keeping things real, facing aggression with aggression. Looks like he's going to Jagdave Bahamut and take out the other hunter in order to swing just for 1200. So he's actually going to keep 2 Regalia open, I guess looking for that invulnerability. So nice play on his part, keeping up the imperishable just in case he needs it, because you never know. Kevin's going to drop to 2500. Now normally these games are rather quick, so really game 2 is where things really get interesting, because we're going to see the sideboards, and there's a lot of tech involved, especially if you're on the play versus the draw when it comes to Bahamut. I know these guys are pretty interesting players in regards to a lot of their tech choices. Over the vast majority of the games here, we've seen a lot of things like Pandora into Grimia. We've seen a couple builds of Grim rushing red forward into Gwyber as well. So to be perfectly honest, I don't think the Gwyber Rada made a huge difference to a lot of the decks here. Yeah, right? Judgment called pretty prematurely. Looks like all is well, though. Altering a life total again. Looks like he's taken 1,400, dropping down to 23. So the life totals are remaining basically the same right now. Again, no big plays to really commentate on, other than just to kind of, I think they're filling each other out to see kind of what decks they're running. Running 8 Regalia has been rather popular today, and that's really kept everyone kind of on their toes. I think that's strong for the mirror match, because it's going to keep you ahead in regards to keeping your ruler imperishable. And Bahamut's really showing its strength today. So it looks like Bahamut, surprisingly, is going to swing in again. So he actually tapped one of his Regalia during the draw. So he's actually going to tap a second time, and then he's going to swing in for a total, bringing his life down to 725. Looking very confident going into this first game. It's nice to be in the play when you're behind. Feeling the pressure now, looking to see if he can take him out and do 2,300 probably in one turn. Clearly probably could have blocked with Bahamut to answer that, but it looks like he's just going to answer into Bahamut with his Bahamut, which is clearly the play here. Double stack from both Regalias, and it looks like they're both going to give imperishable to Bahamut as well. Again, nothing new here for those of you that have seen these decks. Yep, and right now, that was a strong play. He's hoping that the other Bahamut's not going to drop a Resonator, but clearly he's going to drop an Apostle of Cain into Cthulhu, hitting for 5. Going down to 2. Maybe? As you were at 17. And going into our sideboarding. Now, a lot of people cited Nelgis. That's a good play. A lot of Bahamuts actually have not been named decking Split Heaven and Earth as well. So we're seeing a lot of early aggression. Because of that, it's forcing things like Thunder maybe to come out. Little Red, things like that are not very prevalent here as well. Flame King Hsieh was something that a lot of people discussed adding into sideboard. But again, that's not really something that a lot of players have been keen on as well. Feeling the pain from that turn for one? That's a good question. I believe it was Tom, but they basically scooped. I don't know if the stream got that, but it looks like 13 of the 16 decks in the top 16, 13 of the 16 are in fact Bahamut. So not a big surprise there. We're seeing the strength of the Regalia, and 13 of the 16 are Bahamut? Yeah. Yeah, it's basically just Blast versus Blast. No one's really surprised there either. I think we all knew going into this event that Baja Blast was going to be extremely strong as a contender. There were a couple different builds floating around. There was like a Charizard, Rooks, that tried to stall into Mephistopheles, but again, the problem with that is you're just so dependent on being on the play game one that it's almost too inconsistent. I know there was a Grim, there was a Grim versus Baja Blast in round 3. Go back to main. Looks like sideboarding's complete for the most part. Just doing some shuffling right now. And actually, I believe the Grim versus Baja Blast in round 3 2-0'd that blast. So that's certainly an upset. I know that's utilizing our new Little Red, and what they're doing is they're playing Wyvern on turn 3, and then it'll go off with Bonsai attack as well. So it's a strong contender, and I think the strongest decks in the format right now to contend with this are probably the Grim Red with Wyvern, and then we've also seen a fair amount of Snow White as well. Those have been doing the best in this event that I've seen. We've seen a few control decks floating around. For the most part, it's about 100. Mid hundreds in regards to the player size for this as well. So players right now looking like Kevin's going to be on the play here for sure. Starting looking to mull. Rookegg has actually probably been the MVP. People are talking about how strong the Regalias are, but dropping a Rookegg and having the ability to search out for your Cthulhu, as well as having some fodder to draw cards with your Guinevere has been very strong today. Players just kind of milling over, looking at their hands. It's actually not a big surprise. I've seen a lot of people side in King as well. It's that Armelgis, so that's a very strong turn play for Tom here. So that's an outstanding call for him in regards to sideboarding. So it looks like we're gonna have some early aggression, and Tom's gonna get dropped for 300. So again, very similar to play from the last game. We're looking at just an early Hunter, straight to face, and then the same thing. So it looks like he's just going to try to survive here actually. So he's going to trade Hunters. So again, good play on his part. He dropped the Cane early, so it looks like, and obviously he got his Regalia as well. So he's going to do that to prevent the Bahamut from going off. Again, strong play. Kind of seeing where this is going as well. I don't think he's going to Jagger the Bahamut for early damage as well, because he's probably going to want to trade and utilize Bahamut's ability exactly right. So he's going to drop our landslide here and swing for some extra damage. and drop him down to 31. Again, being on the play, very strong and advantageous for our Bahamut player versus the side deck king. So again, no big surprise here. He's going to go into Bahamut, and I guess he's going to swing for more damage. So it's, yep, 1400 there. Dropping to 17. Yeah, and here comes the king backswing. Exactly right. We actually have another caster coming up here right now. Yeah.
We're going to talk about this next.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, so here comes Kane. Again, no surprise there. He's going to take out Bahamut. We're going to see a sack from the Regalia to give him imperishable. And he has first strike as well. Yep, so he's going to take out the Bahamut. And what he's looking for right now is just to answer that sheer amount of damage. We're still looking at 4,017. So again, no big surprises here as well. Again, being on the play for Bahamut, incredibly beneficial. So right now, Kane is just trying to survive and just hold on to anything he can. Our guest caster, Aqua, who's actually 5-0 going into round 6 right now. Do you have anything to state kind of in regards to the meta that you've seen being the top-seeded player right now going into next round?
Hey guys, it's Aqua here. Not too much actually. I mean, this is exactly what we expected. We saw a lot of Bahamut players. I mean, exactly here with Bahamut. There's nothing enough to stop Bahamut going off. He goes first. It's too fast. Yeah, a lot of stuff that can keep up with it on second, going second. But I mean, if they go first, it's how close to you. But if you're Bahamut, you go first. Like, it's not a big advantage. And honestly, it's just use the live himself.
Arpo, what do you think the Kane player's options are in regards to him being on the draw, trying to respond to this Bahamut? Does he really have any outs here?
No, honestly, I would probably. So the Kane player's going first.
No, the Kane player was on the draw. He sided into Kane, yeah.
Okay. So the Kane player won the first game. He's going second right now.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I do see looks like honestly not the best matchup for Bahamut. Kane does counter Bahamut pretty well, but he just gets a lot of other stuff. It allows like a lot of other things to like scale into the late game. He's really, I mean, Kane can be a card for it's great, but it's not the same power that Bahamut has on the rest of the meta. With that being said, like Kane definitely has a good matchup against him here.
Absolutely. And so going into this right now, we're looking again, we saw Purifying Flame to get him down to 1,000 health. So we're looking at 31 to 1,000. Again, he's just playing catch up right now. And even though he has the stones right now to respond.
Best card game right now. Honestly, I think Root 6 is like the of any red deck. Honestly, because you just like sack it for Live and reset the Live. Sack it for 2. Reset with like another. I mean, honestly, I usually just go on Root 6. It's not much at all.
And it's nice too because it thins your deck. It certainly keeps things fresh.
Deck, it keeps for 1 mana and you get to like basically pass stuff. Like you can use. There's so many options.
It looks like the Kane player is really just trying to hold on by preventing the Bahamut player from J activating, because that's all he can really do. I don't think he can respond to a Bahamut J.
That's the game 3, right? Okay. I mean, this game is honestly comes down to a lot of times. Like, who gets more plays. That's kind of good. 1,000 damage. 1,000 damage.
And that's it. So it looks like Kevin took that game, so I believe it's 1-1.
I kind of missed that. Wait, what happened here? Was it double thunder or what?
It looked, yeah.
You guys have
Oh no, it looked like Tom took it.
Tom's going 2-2, okay. I mean, let's get straight. Like right now, Kane is a really strong matchup against Bahamut, and that's why if you get into the top seed tables against Bahamut players, you're going to be able to have a really good game. If the Bahamut players side out to like something else, like I don't know, even Gene or I mean, like I've seen that tag out tournament already. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anything that's Snow White, like if you have a sideboard or Snow White, like that also it's hard for Kane players. Oh, but like the big side effect of Kane, I would say, is that actually, today, like going to the tournament, I played a bunch of Blackstones, but like red Blackstones, 4 of them, and then the red. That's all specials I play. I do have Hsieh in my side still, but I do run 4 flames of the outer in my side deck. It forces my opponent to clear game 1 in case they do run chain or whatever. They have to understand that like you might hit the field. Seeing that red Blackstone, it does put like some pressure on them and forces them time properly. That being said, also like if you flame the outer with game south like game, they run out ruler and like right now it's really bad, okay?
I think going into this event, I think Aqua was very prepared in regards to the fact that he was running main deck Blackstones, which gave him exactly what he said, access to flames.
Also, like it helps me against certain matches. Like until Bahamut, J ruler meta right now, like it basically stops the flow of the game. Like they can't really do much except try to do shenanigans. Without ruler, the deck itself is like it's not as powerful as.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
All you have to do is stop the ruler. And that's why I see people powerful, but it doesn't really solve the answer. Flames out kind of does solve the answer. But it's kind of slow. Like if you went second, Flames out is not going to help you have play.
I almost feel like you almost have to main deck 4 Crime and Punishments as well to really be competitive here. It's difficult to respond, especially if you see a turn 1 flip into a J activation, into a swing, due to a Regalia Swiftness.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think most of the Hancock call me is 2 to 4 Crime and Punishments. I think it's a necessity. If they activate turn 1, you CMP them, forces their Leviathan, they only have 1, that's it. Like the Bahamut player can't really go off again until they get into the second one. And they can try to search out with one, that's it.
It's also very risky too, and again, that's why I stress playing at least 2 to 4 like Aqua said. The real issue there is if you are on the draw, it's very imperative that you do at least have some sort of CMP to respond to your opponent's possible ability to flip the J ruler. And if you don't have that CMP, you're going to be in a world of hurt when they get their Regalia out, they're hitting you first, and you're playing from behind the whole game regardless.
Sure. Tom, you see me? Tom. I can't see you on the other side of the table. I think that's Tom where he won the match. Game Kane versus Bahamut. Kane had the upper game. Looks like Kevin Prince on the side or maybe he did. He just didn't opt to choose. I thought maybe swap out.
Well, to be honest, I don't think he made a poor decision, especially on the play going with Bahamut. Kane's a very strong player.
I'm not criticizing these players. I think both these players are really good. Aren't they like 4-0 right now?
Yeah, 4
these guys go 4-0. I mean, it takes definitely a good amount of skill, a little bit of luck to get to the result. So these guys are good.
So Aqua, what can we expect for you? I should be going into standings right now. We're looking at you are one of the only remaining 5-0s. What are you anticipating seeing for next round in round 6?
Honestly, what? Maybe the Bahamut might be really too bad. That's right. I feel like I'm kind of prepared against Bahamut. I do kind of side with Smell is really good. But I think Kane itself is a little bit weaker than Melvin. Check it out here.
Good?
Oh yeah.
Are you just talking to him?
We're talking honest right now. Yeah. There's nothing else going on. Oh, that's cool. Shows in here. You got chat box right here.
Oh hell yeah, absolutely, yeah. The chat hasn't been saying too much other than kind of commenting on the previous rounds, and we saw some nice plays from the players there as well.
Oh guys, don't tell me you watched last round 4. I was a deer in headlights going to game 1. Like I halfway through the first match, I was like, I just can't do this right now. It was so bad. Luckily, game 2, I kind of rebounded a little bit. I knew Bahamut matchup pretty well. I kind of regained my straight head. It kind of fell off there for a second.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about why Melges is such a strong contender in this meta right now against Bahamut?
Honestly, I think because it's that first strike. If you kill it off, like it's really powerful. That's assuming they have one Leviathan. If they have Leviathan and Excalibur, I still favor the Melges matchup because you can just keep flipping over and over again. You get yourself imperishable. So like every time they kill you, you're not gonna have to worry about like arms race. Like if the arms race basically entails whoever flips the Bahamut first and starts seeing main damage. Whoever has more damage on the board. Because I mean, if you're against Bahamut, you have to accept that you're taking 2,000 damage.
That's exactly right.
Especially if you're in second, you have to accept that you're taking 2,000 damage for no reason. That's honestly why the meta is too fast. You can't do anything about 2,000 damage turn 1. That's why CP is powerful. But at the same time, like you take 2,000 damage, you just half your life right there. Why I think it's not. That's why you can't say it's really mad viable. Because if you have Bahamut right now, it's just.
Stream, can you barely hear myself, or can you barely hear Aqua?
Hey, streamers, I just wanted, I mean, yeah, Twitch, can you let me know if I can't be heard, or if it's chosen over here? We have, how many rounds is it actually? I don't know.
I believe it's a 7-round event. So
7-round event.
going into round 6 undefeated, you're looking
I
like
want you to stop saying that right now. Like I'm, I'm you're jinxing it for me. Like I'm gonna probably fall out now and I'm gonna make top 8 because of this.
I'll see you at the caster desk, my man.
Yeah, maybe that.
My guest is low. Thank you very much. Okay.
Can you guys hear me now? Is it better? Do I have to have the tech guys come out?
Try the other headset. Try one.
One?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, let me know if this is working better. Can you guys hear me? Better? Louder? Softer? Harder?
I got you loud and clear. But again,
Okay.
I think the stream's still waiting.
Okay, okay.
What does the stream want to hear about? Do you guys want to hear kind of a rundown of what we've seen so far in Philly in regards to everything else? I know we're just as interested as you are at the 3 decks that aren't Bahamut. Again, I know for a fact one of those is a Grim build.
Yes, actually, I would say the strongest decks right now that are outside of Bahamut are just really like counter Bahamut. So you have Bahamut meta, counter Bahamut. Counter Bahamut is really what gets Bahamut, but then it opens floodgates to like all these other decks. Like if you want Flat Teppies to come back, well, to play counter meta. If it's a counter meta to Bahamut, then Flat Teppies will win that counter match. So it's like rock paper scissors. And that's what Bahamut honestly. I don't know. I don't really favor it so much because it's originality, in my opinion, but it's definitely outplayed than Pac-Man. Waiting for the next round, round 6. Let's talk about, I guess, Vlad Teppies and Grim. Honestly, I don't know if Vlad, I think there's only a few Vlad Teppies in contention right now, but honestly, I don't know if they'll make it. Sea of red running around. Did you guys know that there's only, I think, 20% of players playing Bahamut right now? But that's not taking into account like people main deck machine, I guess. But I thought there'd be a lot more. But I mean, if you are seeing like the top decks in contention.
That's exactly right, and it's just so difficult to keep pace with those decks as well. You're looking at, as stated earlier in the stream, you really need to be on the play game 1 in order to compete with this Regalia heavy meta. And if you don't get the ability to go on the play on game 1, you're really going to be playing from behind regardless. I mean, even if you go on to play game 2, then you're still on the draw game 3 generally.
That's true. That's very true. It's kind of funny. So if any of you guys are going to Houston and listening in right now, no, I would recommend going in with Bahamut.
100%. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to need to be running Bahamut in order to stay competitive. If you can somehow find a way to defeat Bahamut and Baja Blast in general, you're going to have a good chance at winning.
I mean, consistently. And also, I don't think there is, because like if Bahamut goes first, like okay, you can go consistently win against Bahamut if you go first every game, but the likelihood of that happening, you can just kiss your chances of making top 8 goodbye. That's your way of like trying to get to top 8, going first every day. That's not going to happen. So like you have to, I think, because Bahamut going first is just so detrimental. You can't really recover from that most of the time.
So we had a question from the stream: has the errata on Wyvern even been relevant? And I'll answer that myself. So I actually went into this event running a white-red version of Grimia, and I was main decking with Wyvern. And to be honest, we saw a lot of Demon Flames and a lot of Thunders. However, most of the time, it's not really an issue. I don't think a single game I had a Bahamut player, because I played Bahamut every single round, going into round 5, that Thundered or Demon Flamed a single one of my Resonators in response. I think they were saving it for damage and try to get damage through. So it's not really an issue because I don't think they find Wyvern to be a true threat. Now, is Wyvern really strong in the Grim deck?
It is, because dropping on turn 3 is just so detrimental. Like you have a lot more on the play. Actually, talking about Wyvern a little bit, like really cool play for those players that are looking to play like red-white, double play, it's Gambit. I mean, if you play first of all, it's good, smart. Like, but if you're playing like red-white, this is the concept I'm talking about right now is the first Gambit.
Yeah.
You play turn 1 Roost Egg, pass this turn 2, you drop it, you go get rid of Roost Egg, plus 1 Resonator on the but that's about as far as it gets. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not consistent, but it's definitely cool. In fact, I lost the game today in round 3 on turn 2 today. So definitely the regalia really showing the true strength. It's hard to respond when you're on the draw.
Yeah, and that's kind of like honestly, I think Grim is a great answer, but it's even if the answer you went against any Bahamut decks.
So I played 4 rounds today and played against 4 Bahamut decks.
There you go. Like that's how prevalent Bahamut is in terms of like strength. Like even with like Grimia, like I don't know if Grim is a good answer. I mean, it was great when that was one game I watched. Like, you just tapped him down with you removed your was Ragnarok, right?
Yes.
You removed the Ragnarok and you tapped down with your ruler, so you can't call him mana. It's kind of like the new skill, like counter. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. But you play so many specials there that like you made yourself set on Hsieh. I think that
I think Split Heaven and Earth is a strong answer. It's obviously a strong cyber card, and I don't think that's ever going to go anywhere. Now, I actually on the token of Hsieh, I will talk about this a little bit. There's 2 parts I think that are really shaping the meta in regards to kind of their power level and what's kind of stifling the game. Now, everyone's going to say Cthulhu's names, okay? No one's going to disagree with that. Ugag, Cthulhu, Bahamut, those are all strong cards, but I think the real issues right now, obviously the Regalia, just you can blanket that statement, but I think Excalibur is significantly less powerful.
I don't think we should talk about cards that we think we're just talking about the meta designing cards right now.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So I think
this is Aaron. We can't talk about like what our perceptions are, what is there. We don't want to portray from the ARG.
Oh, so disclaimer, we're not representing the ARG.
Yeah. So, yeah, as far as back to like main point, Wyver, meta, it definitely isn't power. Like, I mean, Wyver is still a really powerful card, but it's not even impacting that dramatically. So, like, because of the timing issue, like, if you play a 1-drop,
No.
okay, so I'm just going to use Achilles as an example. You play Achilles, there's going to be no timing to stop the Achilles. Wyver's already on the stack. You're paying 3, you're already paid 3, Wyver's on the stack. You're not going to miss timing for dropping Achilles into Wyver. That's just, there's no timing for certain impact. Now, let's say you play Pandora Light, and you Pandora where you search out for an impact.
Yeah.
Now, let's say it's an interaction. If it enters the stack, and then your opponent thunders and responds, and it happens, so to stop the Wyver. They really fear that Wyver, they might thunder it. And they kill off the Achilles, and then Grim hits the field, and you have 1 mana, but you can't set a Wyver because you only have 1 creature still on the field that enters the battle.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. All it does is really like it just kind of like stalls out a little bit. And honestly, like you could even argue, like make a counter argument, like it doesn't even help. It just kind of hurts their opponent even more if they use something like that. Because like it's setting the fire.
Exactly right, and it's only 1 resonator. I mean, to be honest, I saw a lot of people dropping Wyver on turn 3 and turn 4. And that's when you're seeing a lot of decks with the capabilities of dropping Wyver early, really making an impact, especially against Bahamut. It's a great tech choice. So to be honest, I don't think it made a large difference for Errata.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
We actually don't. When that's going, we don't do any commentary there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
So if you guys want to do it again, you're both more luck to keep it.
Oh, he's 5-0. Yeah, he's probably the top seed player.
Oh.
But if you want to hop in, man.
I might. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
It's fun to do commentary. We passed it before the game, so
Yeah.
for us it's like it's a fun thing to do.
Well, you're more than welcome to come back if you want. Good luck to.
Oh yeah.
So I played the mirror.
Wait, do you want to say bye to the audience?
Keep going.
Oh, folks, that was the ARG staff coming over, kind of letting us know they're going to be putting the next one up relatively soon. On that note, to answer the screen's questions, Bloody Snow White, a deck to consider to help stop Bahamut due to her tap and Day Resonator, Day Ruler Special Resonator effect, which is too slow. So, speaking from experience, kind of what I've seen here, I like the interaction that from Bahamut. Now, is that a great answer to Bahamut? I think it's okay. You know, I think there's better choices in regards to kind of the way things have played out, based on those top decks that we've seen. There might be one, if I had to guess about the 3 road decks that are top right now, top 16, I would imagine one is probably a Vlad Tepes deck. There's probably another Bloody Sunlight, and there's one that is not going to come. So, and to answer the question, in regards to the rat on Viber, basically, I think the real issue is people were thinking it was significantly too strong compared to what the combination was in the coming set or coming in common. That being said, it doesn't really change the functionality. There were some magic things you could do. Maybe if you're going like white black, where you could play Cinderella, play a speed move, sack for speed move, and drop the Viber. And where that was really neat and fun interaction, again, it didn't really change functionality in general because, generally speaking, you don't have the timing window to deal with the resonators when they drop, unless they have some sort of inner effect of shades. I do the shakes. No, you can't. You can and you can't. So, I think there's a little bit of a misconception on how Wyver was affected. If someone plays a resonator and it doesn't have any other effect other than it just isn't play or it has a continuous effect, you can't respond. You can't, in Force of Will, you cannot just change. You can't just chase something when it comes to play. Like, for example, in Yu-Gi-Oh, you get like Trap or something like that, or if you don't counter it. There's the timing window to counter, but there's no timing window when it comes to play. So if you play a resonator, you can't just thunder it. You can't just beam and play it. You know what I mean? That's an issue. Is that better, stream? Maybe is that better? Test. That's better, stream? Okay, great. So explaining the Gleiber timing, it's actually really important to understand the way the quote-unquote errata works. So there's no timing window if you just drop a resonator. You can't just respond to something. You can't just respond to something and you know what I mean. There's no timing window for that. You can't just respond to something coming into play. So you can't. It doesn't really affect it in that regard. So if you drop something without an enter effect and it just has a continuous effect, and let's just say you drop like a horseman, you know what I mean? So you drop 3 horsemen or 2 horsemen and then you drop a Gleiber. No, your opponent cannot respond to it. They can just continue to so that's really important to know. Now on the flips, obviously they get counter, that stops it. Or you have an enter effect you can chain to, that stops it as well. But predominantly most people's things don't have enter effects, so they don't really get affected. And so no, I don't really think the errata really changes the functionality of Gleiber, and I don't think it's going to be the huge meta-defining problem that everyone thought it would be. Now, is Gleiber going to answer the Muhammad? Hell yes. It is a strong card and strong competitor. We're seeing a lot of the strong decks right now, like we mentioned with Grim, that's utilizing Little Red to drop a Granny to play Gleiber on turn 3. Now, that's a very strong card, especially if you're on the play and you're strong at that. But again, you're still playing catch-up because there's so much strength in these decks right now that are preventing people from really doing anything. There's the problem with the constricting format of Hsieh before, where you have split heavy nerf, really preventing creativity from deck building. And I think that's a big issue that we've seen in the past. People found ways around it, but when you have a card that's that strong and that efficient for the amount of damage it does, that's really harmful to kind of the creativity of the game. Now, on the flip side, there's another side of that where you're looking at decks that were too big, that had too many stones. And of course these people are saying, well, this is really strong and we need to deal with this, and wow, control's out of hand, so to speak. But in that regard, I think it's important to have something like Hsieh, but I think the amount of damage in the game is just too great. And to be perfectly honest right now, control's a non-issue, but even with Vlad Tepes, because you're not seeing games that are going late enough where that's really been an issue. You know, you're looking at games where people are playing 1 or 2 mana and that's it. Or I'm sorry, dropping stone and you only have 2 stones in there. Now that's wild. That's drastically different from something we saw in the previous previous formats where we saw very long games, especially Pandora the Dark. You saw, you know, Charizard the games like Pack Control. You saw, unfortunately, so the Red Sea is very good. So this game. So when I played, I went 3-2, but I ended up just basically skipping the game so I could come and cast and kind of have someone that knows at least something about this game for their cast. I know in the past events that was kind of something that I wanted this. And from what I saw, I played nothing but Bahamut. Again, I think when I think of Red Sea, I'm thinking of Bahamut. I'm not really thinking of anything else outside of like Bahamut and like Melgis. So I would actually say a rogue deck in that regard would be like Snow White. I think Snow White, even Melgis, I think Melgis is basically Bahamut. I think Pain might be considered like a rogue deck as well. But even in that respect, we're really just looking at Snow White, we're looking at Grim, again, with the little red, very dropping wide very strong play. And that's basically it. We saw a little bit of Black Weapons. I know there was a deck build out recently where they were utilizing roots in order to kind of stall out and drop a Meppy, because of course you can't really, respond to a Meppy if it is the field as Bahamut. And of course, if you're ramping, you boost into it, maybe even Gretel. That's certainly a way to deal with it. But again, that's a big issue right now, is that players just don't have the time. There's no time to beat. Now, I know Lumia has been an MVP here, especially Achilles as well. Now, those are 2 cards that came out of the game and they've been very strong. And I saw a couple of those floating around. Of course, you drop your Lumia and you're not really... If a deck tries to all-in you, Lumia kind of resolves that, where unless they're killing you outright, or if you have a second one in play, just as a 6/6 body on turn 2 for 1 white and colorless, it's very strong. You're not going to do anything with that light and void, and it's at 6, so you can't just under it, you can't move it, which is incredibly powerful. So I think Lumia is definitely one of the strongest cards in response in regards to playing against just this red rush in general. Now, I have seen a few decks running diamonds in order to utilize different cards from different colors, and that's kind of interesting. So we're looking at dropping a stone early on, paying 200 life to have access to any color. Now, why is that strong? Because it gives you access to anything you want. Let's talk about some very strong 1 will, 1 void cards. For example, Lumia. It's 1 life, 1 void. It's a 6/6 body that you can stack and gain life. Now let's talk about another card. And this was very strong actually last game. We didn't see it very much. And I'm thinking that there might be a way to respond, because, and also those give you access to Cheshire Cats, for example. You pay 200 to get a Cheshire, you need a block, or you can't kill it. That's really strong as well. I mean, you're getting draw power as well. Another one, Absolute Cake Zone. Cake Zone is 1 green, 1 void. And again, that's something to give access to if you're running diamonds as well. So that's just another really interesting kind of example of something you can utilize in order to kind of work outside of the box and deal with this meta. Now, everyone's trying to outthink the meta too, but unfortunately, I think the Regalia are a little too strong right now to deal with the meta. And in regards to those interesting builds that those players had, or like we talked about before, we had Bloody Snow White, we had that interesting green build with Little Red. I saw some people trying out Lumia Red, and that's basically it. Maybe Kane, right? But again, the problem with Kane is that I don't think Squid Hunter Nerf is scaling anyone anymore. And because of that, players can get greedy. You're not worried about running off-course things. So, for example, Aqua, who was just on the stream, was talking about how his big secret to why he's undefeated right now, he's only dropped a single game, and that was on the main stage, was because he's main decking diamonds and black redstone, which means his access to black, which gives him flames in the outer world. Now that's really strong, of course, against him and Melvins, which is really setting him perfectly. That also allows him to play Melvins and really not have any difficulty of keeping him up. He's also main decking white Regalia, but that's been a common thread for a lot of the player base here. We've seen a lot of very heavy Regalia decks, and beyond just Leviathan, we're seeing a lot of the hockey players main decking multiple copies of Excalibur too, usually 3 or 4. And the reason why that's so powerful, of course, is because you can give yourself invulnerability multiple times. Because most of the time we're seeing players digging for those Regalia. Because to be honest, it's a ruler-driven format. What's up, awesome guy 1? So we're trying to combat that right now, and it's difficult. There's no real answer outside of running Regalia yourself. I think we've seen formats in the past, and as toxic as you can claim that formats are, there's still a lot of skill involved in mirror matches. And I know that's silly, and I'm sure the stream's going to go nuts over that, but the truth of the matter is a lot of it comes down to side play. We just saw our 2 players, Kevin and Tom to Kevin, even though Kevin was on the play with Tom, and now why did that happen? Because he side decked into the thing. Now he was on the play, so he won game 1. Yu-Gi-Oh! Screamers themselves. Hell yeah, Wreck, dude. That's going to get rectified right here. Yeah, Purifying Fire is actually a really interesting incursion. We've seen it a few times. Although, to be honest with you, I think in testing a lot of the Regalia heavy decks, the biggest problem we saw was that most decks are sitting at 1 red skin. That's all you have. So, what does Purifying Fire do for you? What does Purifying Fire do for you for 1 red? And it doesn't. You know, are you hoping to get another Regalia? You know what I mean? Maybe. And to be honest, we've seen a lot of players doing things like, you know, they might thunder your ruler or things like that. And you need that answer in order to make yourself imperishable, in order to stay relevant in the games and the tournaments. So they're dropping multiple Regalia in order to stay up. So I don't think Purifying Fire is a super strong answer. Because where it does deal damage to keys, outside of Lancel, it was... well, yeah, you only get a lead for that stuff. But that's kind of the way the meta's gone right now. You know, unless you're on the draw, that's when you're going to see less mana, ironically, actually. Because, you know, generally speaking, the safer play with the Regalia decks right now, when you're looking at getting a stone turn 1 and not going off with the nuts. You know what I mean? And to say the nuts isn't CCG, so it really just means you know, or the god draw essentially. You know, you're looking at swinging for 22, 21, and then turn 2 swinging for another 8. You know, and it does happen. I saw it happen multiple times. Now, my personal thoughts on this, you know, I can't really say. Do I think that's, you know, bad for managing or having performance end on turn 2, 3, 4? You know, it's interesting. You know, I think that's the best way to put it. I think Nat, our head judge in the United States, has done a great job of really explaining. Yeah, exactly. That's yes, exactly. You have to adapt as you learn. And I think it's important to understand that in this Regalia-driven meta, which is how it's going to be, even with Regalia Hate coming in the next set, you still can't stop the turn in Regalia. It's just not going to happen. So I actually commend the Force of Will community for adapting to this meta. And that being said as well, I think it's important to understand that I think the creators of Force of Will are really trying to drive forward the idea that rulers are going to be what makes this game unique. And I think what they're doing with Regalia right now is really trying to make sure that rulers are the defining part of this game. You know, you can play Yu-Gi-Oh! If you want Magic. If you want Magic, you know, you can play Hancock, things like that. There's a lot of different interactions with different games. I think they took a lot of ideas from different games and really created a beautiful game. What's up, Flame Massa? Hell yeah. Honestly, playing five. Well, again, like we just saw here in round 5. We had Tom, who just 2-0'd his opponent, right? And he went second game, game 2. Of course he won the first game 1, but the fact that he won on the draw was outrageous. And outrageous in a good way. You're seeing top end players, and it wasn't because he drew amazingly well. He just side decked correctly and played Kane. Now, take that how you will. Maybe you should just run Kane, and then side deck. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the answer in the Bahamut meta. Because now you're going to have stones, and if Bahamut goes off, maybe you see him beat up Bahamut, and then all of a sudden, oh no, like I have no resonators, and that's just how it goes. Maybe he didn't draw any resonators to do anything to that's possible as well. But it's important to understand that it's not as silly as it is to lose on turn 2. I'm not seeing a lot of games on turn 2, and that's the truth. I'm not seeing a lot of games on turn 2, especially in the mirror match. Games are going to tie. And I think you've seen that on the screen a good amount of times. And it's important to keep that in mind. There's also a lot of really interesting interactions by sacrificing by banishing things like Luca and utilizing Guinevere as well, because you're digging for those you're looking for those cards. Now, I think Aqua made a good point, and they're looking at what he called one trees. Now, he's currently 5-0, going into round 6. There are only 7 rounds in this event. And he talked about one trees where you're looking at whoever gets more regalia. Now, that's 100%. That's not incorrect. Because regalia are outrageous this year. Being able to respond, especially with an Anderson play, and pumping it with Excalibur, getting that extra 2 that's nuts. That's very strong. And there's a lot of really interesting interactions we're seeing with those decks. Now, this is where I think a lot of really strong players shine in the meta, because we're looking at players coming to these events knowing what the meta is. And that was something that was a common thread between other events, where we saw last format a lot of control was everywhere. So we saw a couple of common burn decks knowing what they were going to face. And then of course we had these other, I want to call them rogue decks, but we're looking at Kindle in the Dark, Charizard, Jack Control, things like that, and those were responses to the strong control meta. And it's important to remember that Hsieh was very prevalent at that time. You had Bloody Flame, you had Oddbill earlier than that. So the meta has evolved quite a bit, and now we're finding at the point where things are so fast that people are looking, Firelight, that's what I'm talking about. I'm all about it. I think Grimia, personally, Grimia is my favorite user. I think it's the most cool, balanced, you name it. It's just the way it interacts, with the life gain. I think that's really interesting. I think it's really fun to play around, and you can play around it as the opponent, but also as the owner, you can also manipulate your life. And I think that's the coolest thing that you can do in this format. And also the nice thing about Grimia, and again, don't get it twisted. Okay? I think Grimia is a fun, great user, but it's unfortunately, because you have to manipulate your life, it's a double-edged sword. You're looking at the ability to come back when you're on the draw, which is very strong. Because, you just hit me? Great, now I can react. That's great. And I think that makes a big impact on the game, where Grimia is surprising. It truly is. You're just like, oh, shoot, it's not, Grimia just dead. Oh, my Bahamut's dead. Oh, now I'm tapped. I can't do anything. That's nuts, And, the ability to swing in with Grimia, get your equip, your addition, and then immediately pay 2 white in order to rest, anything you want. It's very strong. In fact, I won a game today because I swung in for 1,000 damage exactly, swinging in and searching for my item, and then banishing it to tap and rest all of his residue so he can block. Now, that's really fun, and it's a fun interaction. It's nice, but again, and even if you haven't, and actually, on that note too, I don't think Excalibur is like a super strong item in that build either. If you're going to do that, you might as well just play just his counterpart, our white lady friend. She is very strong right now too, obviously, but I think Leviathan is just too strong right now. So instead of having to pay one to give yourself target attack and swiftness, generally speaking, because red is so aggressive, all you need is a Leviathan. You're still searching for that equip, so it doesn't matter. So you're still getting that damage, and you're still getting that life damage. Now that being said, there's a lot of grinding things that Bahamut can do to combat that. So again, is Grimia cool? Yeah, absolutely. I love that move. But the fact that your opponent can banish a resonator in response with Guinevere is a big problem for Grimia because you're not getting the life damage. You're not seeing a lot of benefit in life gain as well, because Bahamut can also banish a resonator in response. So there's, and make itself threatenable, so then you just attack into this. So what have the feature matches been by Combat Mandan? So most of it's been Bahamut or Baja Blast, to be perfectly honest. We had a really interesting feature match in round 3 with a Grim build running Little Red and ramping into a Granny in order to play Glyber, and that's been very strong. And then looking at coloring off with a Bonsai tech. Now that's really, yeah, it's amazing Bahamut versus Bahamut just all day. But it's interesting. In fact, these matches are very fun to watch. I would say past round 1. I think round 2 is really where the skill shines because that's when you see the sideline. And that's when the real skill is. You know what I mean? So okay, so I will say this. I play 4-person rules in the Dirty Little Bowser Right today, and unfortunately, one of the big issues I found was that unless you're running a very heavy, nice regalia deck, you're gonna have a problem. I think of all, I've probably played personally like 50 times today, and I fizzled probably 10 of them, and it happens. Now the one thing nice about personal is that she protects your favorites. Now that's nuts. And now I did see a few Bahamut builds running around and playing personal because not only does it give you access to those early regalias, but it also protects your Bahamut as well. So you have another way to get regalias instead of just searching with Guinevere, which is really nice too. And then of course then you get Luke's Egg. And then you also have the ability to essentially prevent all damage to your favorite, which is incredibly strong as well. I thought that was a really clever version. Now, how consistent is it? Well, if you only have access to one mana the whole time, or I'm sorry, one stone the whole time, not super, unless you want to run heat rays, you know, so you're looking at red-white stones, and then all of a sudden, if you're going to do that, then you might as well play maybe like a little red, you know, and then if you're going to play a little red, you might as well play diamonds, you know, so then you have access to white as well as red on turn 1, and if you want to drop a Crucible, get that stone, and then make sure that you have that regalia, that's actually not a bad play. So I've seen that done in the past, and it's, I would say, relatively effective. Now, it is a big risk, though, because Percival's great on turn 1 or 2, but past that, it's terrible top deck. And a lot of these games do, unfortunately, don't necessarily come with top decking, but there is a lot of digging involved because of Guinevere. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, it looks like we're still waiting on the next round to start. Nothing's been posted yet. I think we're still waiting on the destination. Yeah. I don't know, Stream, how do you feel about everything that's going on today? Have you guys been keeping up with the game so far? Well, that's exactly right. You know, you can just get the regalia just to get it, that's true. But again, the issue is if you're, because it's white, you're almost forced to play, you know, there's extra stones in order to get that. And then what are you giving? You know what I mean? I don't think